Tragos de amargo licor que no me hacen olvidar. Oh, see, I thought I was gonna start singing, right? Nah. It's not that type of. It's not that type of video. But today we're gonna talk about movies. We want to talk about movies, and we're gonna talk about movie scenes. The most traumatizing movie scenes for me personally that I've ever seen. And when I mean traumatizing, I mean things that traumatized you or scarred you or left you different. Um, and most of these are going to be as a child because, like you're very vulnerable when you're a kid, and things that may not traumatize other people or may not even work on you now, worked on you when you were a kid, and left you kind of, yeah, different. Like you always gonna fear those things. In my personal experience, when these types of things happen to you, you always, um, continue to check behind those same corners, or check your fries for a spider to pop out of there or something. And it's because of these people that know how to channel those fears in people and put them into book form or movie form. Like, for example, Jordan Peele, right? I think that's his name. The guy who made Get Out. He was able to capture that fear of being the only one, or being in a new place, or in a place where, like, you're the only one that's like you. Like you know what I'm saying. So he captured that fear of, and a lot of people are gonna think that this was like a racist movie, or that it was about white people versus black people. I think that if you've ever been to a place where everybody there is different than you, like, for example, if you've been to Mexico, if you've been to, China or Japan, or places like this, you're gonna be the odd man out. You're gonna be the different one. You're gonna be the American, and you're gonna feel like you're not necessarily safe. There's a certain fear to that. Now, you don't pay attention to it, but what this movie does, what Get Out does, it puts a lens on that, and it hyper focuses on that, and it expands it, and it creates it into a horror movie. And that's what these directors, or these writers like Stephen King, are good at. They're good at, hyper focusing on these fears, or giving you these fears from the perspective of someone who would be scared of of these things, or who would be scared of white people, or who would be scared of clowns or whatever. And by them giving you that perspective, it makes you kind of understand, why certain people are scared of certain things. Number 5 is Arachnophobia. And Arachnophobia is one of these movies that hyper focuses on the fear of spiders. Of course, by the name, you should already know that. But this movie, man, it really shows you why arachnophobes are so scared of spiders. And why they fear spiders so much. Um, and you feel the mentality of an arachnophobic. That they feel like they could be anywhere, and that they're gonna kill you, or they're gonna bite you, and this movie kind of encapsulates why these people fear spiders so much. And to be honest, it got to me when I was a kid. I saw this when I was a child, and I remember being so scared of spiders for about maybe a month. Yeah, for about like a month, I was so scared of spiders. I was like, "Oh damn, they could be in my popcorn, they could be in my fries, they could be in my fruit, they could be in the toilet, they could be anywhere, and they'll just jump at me and kill me." And then, because you watch this movie, that's really what it does. It just like shows you how easy it could be for these big ass spiders to just travel across the world and start killing people. Um, of course, I grew out of that fear because I studied spiders, and my teachers were telling me about spiders and how some of them can't even see. Uh, so I was like, yeah, it's not that scary, I guess. But yeah, like the main scene in here that kind of got to me. There was two scenes actually in this particular movie. There was one where the old people, they find them and they're dead and there's spiders crawling all over them. That one got to me. I was like, oh damn, that's crazy. So in my mind, I thought that when spiders killed you, they laid babies inside of you, and then a bunch of spiders just came at it, which is not true. And even if they did, it wouldn't be that fast. It would take a long time, and the bodies would have been decayed. And I think they did show like they were decayed or something. I forgot the details of the movie because I hadn't seen it in a long time. Um, Even though I rewatched it a bunch of times afterwards because the movie was fun and it was funny. It's a funny movie for it to be a quote unquote horror movie. Um, Later on, it became one of my favorite movies, and I always rewatched it because of the funny side of it, and it was just a good movie. It's a very well made movie, you know. But yeah, I grew out of it. I grew out of this fear, so that's why it's so low on my list, and that's why um you know I didn't put it that high. But it's definitely one of the ones with the most memorable scenes. The other scene that actually did kind of got to me, and I still check my toilet for all the time, is the spider coming out of the toilet scene. And that's something that I think scarred a generation of people. Still, if you're a millennial, you still check your toilets for for spiders, or for whatever animal might crawl up of the spider. And this is one of the reasons. And there's other ones in my list that are also going to be related to toilets. But anyways, NMI number 4 is actually a recent. Um, it's actually a recent show. It's not even a movie, and it's a scene in a movie that reminded me of another movie that I can't find because it's so old. It's older than me actually. It's an 80s movie, I believe, or even 70s or 60s movie. But I saw it on my TV one time. I was flicking channels. Back in the day we had these really old TVs. We still had remotes, so I'm not that old. But I was switching the channels, right, and then I came up with this movie that was on TV, and I didn't know what was going on because I caught the movie somewhere in the middle or somewhere towards the end maybe. And I remember watching this movie, and there was and you guys help me out, but the reason I'm mentioning this particular scene in a Netflix. So let's talk about the Netflix TV show. It's from a Netflix TV show called Cabinet of Curiosities. And it's with Benicio and Guillermo del Toro, which is a director of horror movies. And it's about stories, kind of like yeah, like different stories that he talks about. And I think it's in the second one or in the first one of the or the third maybe, where there's an episode called The Graveyard Rat or something like that. And it's about this guy who goes around stealing from graveyards. And but there's a scene there where he falls into this cave, underground cave, and he starts looking for gold there or whatever. He starts to take gold from that cave, but there's this big ass rat that lives down there, and it's mutated and it's ugly. It's this rat right here. You can see it in this picture here. But when I saw that rat, it reminded me of this other movie that actually traumatized me. Not this one, not this TV show. And that got me to thinking, maybe I should talk about it in this video, and maybe people could help me find that movie that traumatized me when I was a kid. And basically what I saw in that movie way back then, it was like there was this guy underground in a cave, and he was like running away from something. I was like, what is this guy running away from something? Like, what is that he's running away from, right? Then all of a sudden I see this giant ass rat that looks similar to this one. And I was so scared when I saw that thing. I was like, what the fuck is that? Like, what is that? A giant rat. And that's what made me scared of rats, by the way. Like, that scene. And then, but the thing that got me the most was the sound that this rat made. It had like a sonic attack, to where he screamed, and it did like a type thing, and it would hurt the human's ears. And I saw it, they were covering their ears. They were like, oh shit, like, they were like covering their ears, and their heads were hurting. But at the same time, it called upon other rats to help them. And they were little, I was going to say tiny, but just regular sized rats for New York. And they would just come and help them. So this was not only a sonic attack, it was like a big ass mutated rat. And it was like a sonic attack, but it also called upon, his little rat friends. And when I saw this, I was like, damn, I changed the channel immediately. I was like, I don't know what's going on, but this is crazy. And I got so scared. I was like, I don't want to watch that movie. But now that I'm grown, I want to see if I can find that movie. I don't know what kind of movie that is. If anybody can help me find it, let me know. And but from this TV show, nothing really was that scary except for how he died. He got mauled by rats. Like, a bunch of rats just killed him. And then the way they found him, that was kind of fucked up too. But yeah, let's move on to my number 3, which is Candyman. Candyman's, it really wasn't anything he did. It was just this scene here, with the blood and the toilet. And the thing is, they mentioned a kid being killed or someone getting castrated in the toilet. And that, with the combination of this, just got to me, because it was like, is that his, like, dick in there? I don't know what the hell's going on, So that's really what got to me when I was a kid. I was like, what the hell? And that's it. And that's part of the reason why when I go to restrooms, like, I don't go to public restrooms, because I've seen shit like this. Like, real talk, it was actually tamed compared to some of the shit I've seen in some public restrooms. So yeah, this is one of those things that kind of scarred me, because I didn't really go to public restrooms after that. I was scared of getting, castrated in the restroom because of Candyman. That shit's scary, bro. Like, and all it did is they made an assumption of it, and then they showed you this scene. And that was enough to kind of make you imagine the rest of it, because they didn't show that part. They didn't show any of it. They just mentioned it, and they showed you the scene. And that's it. And that's the power of suggestion. Sometimes leaving things to imagination is enough to scar people, and to make it even more scary, because the imagination is a lot more powerful than sometimes people are showing the scenes or whatever. So that's a simple one, guys. We're moving on to my number two. Is another restroom scene, and it's actually two restroom scenes. It was that one that I just showed you, but really it was this one. It was a combination of both, but this one was more because the suggestions that it's making here, guys. I don't know if you understand, but as a kid, you're scared of holes in the ground for some reason, and you're scared of like toilets, and that's one of the things I was scared of. I'm gonna be honest with you, like especially since watching Arachnophobia and then watching this one and then watching Candyman. I was always scared because of these movies that a clown was gonna bite me in the ass. Like real talk, I thought a clown was gonna come up and do this and just bite me in the ass and or bite my nuts off or whatever. So I was freaking horrified because of these movies, but especially it, even more than Candyman, because Candyman was scary, but it was even more scary because he was just creepy and weird, and I think it traumatized me for a long time, dude. Like I was so scared of this freaking clown. And it wasn't like I was scared of every clown. I wasn't scared of every clown. I like clowns. I even liked the Joker. I liked, just different types of there was a clown called Cepillín. I don't know if you guys know who that is. That's a Mexican clown. And he's like, he's cool or whatever. I really didn't fear clowns. But this clown was different, bro. Like, this guy is just creepy. He's weird. And everything about him I just didn't like. It was just he just looked like a creep, dude. Like this clown looked like a creep, dude. Like it's something perverted about him too. Like I couldn't quite put my finger on it, but I was like, this guy's probably gonna rape me and kill me. But yeah, that definitely scarred me. It's one of the scenes that, because the thing is, restrooms are private areas, and I think when Stephen King, came up with these scenes, he knew that, and he knew that, like, he knew how, especially like Americans, I think, have the way we think. We're similar in that way. I don't know if it works the same way in Mexico. Because I feel like Mexican horror revolves more around like kind of like women and like ghosts, and possession. And the same thing goes with the U.S., but I feel like in the U.S. there's a lot of toilet stuff. I'm just gonna be honest. There's a lot of toilet stuff in it. And there's a lot of like restroom sewerage stuff. There's a lot of dirtiness to it and gore to it. I don't know. I feel like it's different. It's a little different. The way we fear things over here. And I mean, La Llorona is scary. I'm not gonna lie. It's pretty scary. But La Llorona, at the beginning, she really didn't do anything. I think the only thing she did is would steal your kids, which is pretty fucked up. But and drown them. Yeah. So yeah, no, I mean it's pretty fucked up. Like steal your kids and drown them because she drowned her own kids. But It the Clown, I don't know. He's just weird, bro. He wants you to fear him, and then he eats you with that fear. So it's kind of like connected to adrenochrome and stuff like that. I don't know, bro. This thing got me. This thing got to me. Honorable mentions. This scene here, the way he died, that got to me. Yeah, that got to me. That first one, yeah, man. I remember watching that when I was in was it high school or middle school? No, it was high school. Yeah, it was high school. It was definitely high school, and I was like, man, damn, that's fucked up, And this one wasn't that gory, but it was definitely like intense, and just the way they left them, to die. It kind of lets you know, like, that's the really the worst death, is to just being left alone in a place where you can't escape. Nobody can hear you. You're gonna die of starvation and thirst, and you're gonna die a slow death. And it's just one of those movies that really got to me. I was like, God damn, like, that's one of the worst ways to die. But yeah, this one was another honorable mention that I have to say. Like, being buried with your brother alive, with your bones all broken, has to be, dude, one of the most horrible ways to die. And I didn't feel that sorry for I forgot his name. Santino, I think was his name. And the reason was because, dude, like, it's the same guy. Like, it's the same thing that I felt for the guy from the graveyard rat or whatever. The guy had plenty of time, plenty of chances to cut his losses and run and leave, but he was too greedy, and he kept going back for more gold, and he got what he deserved. And towards the end, I was like, part of me is like, damn, that's a bad way to go. Like, that's a horrible way to go. But at the same time, it's like, bro, you had plenty of time to leave, and you didn't do it. So you got what you deserved. And the thing about this guy is, he was like, just he was just doing a bunch of shit that he wasn't supposed to be doing, from what I remember. I have to probably watch it again because I forgot. But when you're gonna choose this type of life, man, it's not gonna be a good ending for you. But yeah, one of the worst ways to go, and one of those things that I kept thinking about. Another honorable mention is Pinocchio, especially the scene where he's in the circus, and they're dude, that scene, dude. Ever since I was a little kid, I always hated that scene, and it scared the shit out of me, and I didn't know why. And I was like, what is it about that scene that scares me, bro? It scares me. And then later I figured out that this guy was just trafficking those kids. That's basically what it was. I don't know if it's true or not. I haven't looked into it, but watching it again as a grown up, I realized that that's why I was so creeped out. And I gotta rewatch it again to see if there's symbolism about it. But I personally feel like he was showing these kids off to sell them off as sex slaves. Like, I mean, yeah, there's no other thing that could be. And the fact that for some reason when they were turning into donkeys, that really got to me. I don't know what it was about that. That I was like, I was so scared of that, dude. Like, what the hell is going on? And I know there's a symbolism behind that. That's what I'm gonna do in my next video. I'm gonna try to analyze this movie, especially this scene, and try to figure out the symbolism behind them, because a lot of those Disney movies have a lot of hidden symbolism, and I think this one in particular has some stuff in there that's crazy. But anyways, Bambi dying, by the way, is another one. I remember I cried, and the movie hadn't even, I think the credits were still rolling, and then Bambi's mom died, and I was like, what the heck? A lot of those old movies made me cry when it come to the mother love and stuff like that. Like, for example, Dumbo, and the fact that they separated from his mom, and they started messing with her or whatever, and I was like, no, mama, no. Lion King, bro, that's another one, another honorable mention, really quick. This was one of those movies that as a kid, I watched this as a kid, by the way, and if you realize what you watch as a kid, when you grow up, you start to realize, like, the shit you were watching was crazy. And basically what we got here is a brother killing his own brother to get the throne. So this is some crazy Game of Thrones shit. We were watching when we were like 12. I think at the time I was like, how old was I? I think I was like 12, 11 or 12 when I watched this. And I remember, dude, like thinking, like, damn, that's crazy, bro. And then the fact, and it scarred me in the way that I was angry. I was really angry at Scar. I was angry at the whole situation that happened to Simba, and to Mufasa. And I was like, bro, like Mufasa, bro, he was the hero. And in my mind, I was like, he's the hero. He's gonna help everybody because Mufasa is like Mufasa. Nah, the dude dies, and he not only does he die, but he gets betrayed by his own brother. And yeah, that's crazy. My favorite character, by the way, just letting you guys know, was Rikishi. I love Rikishi. Was his name Rikishi or Rafiki? I think it was Rafiki or Rikishi, something like that. No, it was Rafiki, because Rikishi is the wrestler with the big ass, right? I don't know. The point is the monkey with the stick. That was my favorite character. And I just thought he was cool. But later they told me that he was a witch or something like that. And that's like, again, another... I'm always gravitated towards the wizard type characters for some reason. I don't know why, but I always do. And they always end up living in like a cool tree house or something. And I've always thought that was cool. Like, I've always thought their houses were cool, and their places where they chill. They have a bunch of books, magic and shit. It's pretty cool. But anyways, moving on to my number one, Ravenous. People, Ravenous, till this day, I could see the scars that this movie left on me. And listen, I'm not a vegetarian. I still eat meat, but I'm very particular about meat. Like, I'm very like, if it's still on bone, bro, if it's a huge like turkey leg, that shit creeps me out, bro. It creeps me out. I'm sorry, and some of y'all are gonna be like, "Well, you're not a man if you don't like a little blood in your meat." And to that I say, fuck you, because that shit's fucking creepy and it's disgusting. And you should probably hang around this guy here, the guy in the bottom here, with the knife here. That guy's a cannibal. This movie's about cannibalism, and basically it takes place in the Civil War, the American Civil War, where it was like the Union versus the rednecks or whatever. I forgot who they were, and and so they're like, people was starving, and actually this is based on actual accounts. And the people were starving because they were starving. They just didn't have food to eat. There was a lot of homeless people in those days, and when the war ended, there was a lot of people left that way as well, like without anywhere to go or stay or places to eat, And so they turned to cannibalism. Cannibalism, and there's something cult-like about the cannibals in this movie that really creeped me out. There was like they seemed like vampires to me, like the way they were like, yeah, we're gonna eat people and shit, like, and the way the human meat was presented, oh, dude, it's so disgusting. And the thing about it is that I've seen shit like this, like humans eat this way, like, but not like human meat. We eat things that are similar, that like, and we didn't so nonchalant to where it's like, damn, dude, you're disgusting. I have a problem with wet meat. If you have any type of stew that has meat in it, I'm gonna have a problem with it. Because of this movie, by the way. Medium rare, I can't do it. I'm sorry. I know that makes you feel like a man, and everybody's like, you got to do it medium rare. That's the way we do it in the South. And I'm like, God damn, dude. Like, there's a reason we invented cooking. You know that, right? We invented cooking because it was so hard to eat raw meat. and it was hard for our digestive systems to kill all them fucking germs that the blood had. Because early humans used to eat raw meat because we didn't know any better. We're like, yeah, we don't know what we're doing. We're hungry. Let's eat this fucking cat, and they would just eat it raw. You know what I mean? And then one time, a guy accidentally, burnt something somehow, and maybe a spark from the arrow, just took off and hit some leaves, and it turned into fire. And it was like, oh my god, fire! And then he was like, the bush started burning, and he started smelling. It's like, is that weed? And then that's what woke humans up. It's like weed is what woke us up to cooking. And then we were like, you know what, maybe we could cook this meat, make it a little bit more soft so that we won't have to chew so much and rip the meat out of bone and shit. And that helped us digest our food better, not die from bacteria, and that gave us space to think of other things. Because I don't know if you know, but like if you're not easy on your digestive system, I mean, if you don't feed it properly, your digestive system works extra hard, and those calories are not given to your brain, so your brain can think more. And because of cooking, the reason I'm explaining this is because there's a lot of people that are pretty close to cannibalism. They're not cannibals, but the way they eat is like, yeah, bro. Like, I feel like if we were stuck somewhere, I'm just gonna kill you and call it self-defense. I'm not gonna eat you, but the reason I'm gonna do that is because I know that you're gonna try to eat me. Yeah. I'm just saying, bro. I know that sounded kind of fucked up, but anyways. And to be honest with you, if we were starving, I'd probably eat you. And I wouldn't want to, because like I said, I'm very peculiar about meat. But I mean, desperation. The movie is about desperation. The movie is about cannibalism. The movie is about, I'm pretty sure there's a commentary, there's like a social commentary as well, but I haven't seen it in a long time, but I do remember the scenes with the meat, and to where I think there's a scene there where they tell him, yeah, you're eating human meat right now, and then he's like, no, he's basically doing what I would do if somebody tells me, if somebody would tell me you're eating human meat right now, I'm like, no. But yeah, this is definitely number one, guys. I'm going to go check it out. A lot of these movies I'm going to rewatch. Because, especially this one, especially Ravenous. Because I know this movie traumatized me to the point to where I do eat meat. Okay, I'm not going to say I'm a vegetarian or that I'm a vegan, because I'm not. I eat meat, I eat fish. Mainly fish and chicken. The red meat reminds me too much of this movie, dude. Like, I don't know why. But yeah, so this movie definitely till today, because like I said, the arachnophobia one, not so much, because I'm not scared of spiders anymore. Rats, you don't really see them that much because I'm not from New York. But meat I see all the time, and I'm bothered by it all the time. Like I said, people go to the Texas Fair and they come back with these turkey legs, and I'm like, you might as well just have a fucking human arm and bite into it and just come, hey, what's up? What how you doing? It's crazy. But anyways, it's probably why I like boneless wings. Because that's the other thing, bro. Like, when I go to these places where people eat, like, sucking on bones and shit, and then they're looking at me, like, making eye contact while they're doing that shit, like, get the fuck out of here, bro. Like, who enjoys that shit? I don't understand humans, bro. I just don't get it. Like I went to a seafood boil one time. Like fucking animals, dude. This, they just open the bag out, and this shit just falls out, and people are just digging in with their hands, like looking at each other, like. I'm like, what the hell is happening right now? This is a place people go to? Yeah, it's crazy, bro. Fucking, this is the type of shit that makes me feel like I'm probably not um, from this planet. But anyways, if you like this video, please like, comment, and subscribe. I'll catch you guys later.